One cold winter evening, Sarah moved into an old house on the edge of town, seeking a fresh start after a rough year. The house, though large and beautiful, had an eerie, almost oppressive feel to it. The walls creaked, and the floorboards groaned under her weight, as if the house itself was alive, but she tried to ignore it. After all, the rent was cheap, and the location was perfect. On the first night, as Sarah unpacked boxes, she noticed something strange. A dusty old portrait hanging in the hallway. It was a black and white photo of a family from decades ago. The parents were smiling, but there was something unsettling about the young girl in the picture. Her eyes, wide and vacant, seemed to follow Sarah no matter where she stood in the hallway. Despite her growing discomfort, Sarah chalked it up to the overactive imagination of someone living alone. The house was just old, that's all. But as the days passed, the oddities only escalated. At night, she began hearing faint whispers, as if someone was talking just outside her door. It started with just muffled voices, but then came the footsteps. Slow, deliberate steps that moved across the floor above her. She tried to ignore it, telling herself it was just the house settling. But one night, the footsteps grew louder, closer. She grabbed a flashlight and went upstairs to investigate, heart pounding in her chest. The hallway upstairs was dark, cold, and silent. As she passed the old guest room, the door creaked open by itself. Hesitant but driven by fear, Sarah stepped inside. The room was empty, except for a rocking chair in the corner. To her horror, the chair was moving slowly back and forth, as if someone had just gotten up. A cold draft swept past her, and she felt an icy chill against her skin. She turned to leave, but the door slammed shut behind her. Panic set in as she rattled the doorknob, but it wouldn't budge. Then she heard it, a voice clear and cold, coming from the darkness. "Leave." With a scream, she broke the door open and ran downstairs. The whispering voices followed her, growing louder with every step. Terrified, Sarah locked herself in her bedroom and tried to sleep, but sleep wouldn't come. She lay awake, staring at the ceiling, listening to the haunting sounds that filled the house. The next morning, Sarah decided to investigate the history of the house. She went to the local library and dug through old records. What she uncovered left her frozen in place. The family in the photograph had lived there for generations. The daughter, a young girl named Emily, had vanished one night without a trace. It was rumored she had died in the house, but no one could explain how or why. The case was never solved, and the family left soon after, leaving the house abandoned for decades. A chill ran down her spine. The girl in the picture was Emily, and the house, it had never truly been empty. That night, Sarah decided to leave. She packed her things quickly, but as she reached for the door, she felt something, cold fingers brushing her shoulder. She turned, but no one was there. The door opened on its own, and the whispers filled the room again, clearer now. "Stay." In sheer panic, Sarah fled the house, never looking back. She moved into an apartment in the city, hoping to leave the memories behind. But as she lay in bed one night, she saw something that made her heart stop. The same photograph of Emily, now on her nightstand. And the eyes in the picture were still following her. And that's when she realized the house hadn't let her go. Emily had found her,